Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm Linda.
I'm Mary, and Sisters in the Kitchen. We're going to make cornbread dressing for today. First of all, I'm going to give you the recipe for cornbread dressing. We want to thank y'all for following us this morning, and hope that you're having a good day so far this morning. All right, I'm not going to mix up the cornbread because, as you can see, I've made the cornbread last night, and this I made twice this much. But the recipe I'm giving you is this size, this much cornbread.
And this will be posted too.
Yeah, and the recipe will be posted for the cornbread, and then the recipe will be posted for the dressing, and I will show you how I mix up the dressing. Okay, on the cornbread, I put 1 1/4 cups of cornmeal, 3/4 of cup of flour, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 a teaspoon of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of baking powders, and 1/2 a tablespoon of sugar. And then you combine all that. You want to come up here because I might need you to help me.
Yeah.
And then you combine all that together in a bowl. That's all your dry ingredients. And then you add 3/4 a cup of chopped onions, 4 beaten eggs. You beat up 4 eggs. I use a lot of eggs in my cornbread. That's just the way I do it. There's going to be a lot of you out there that makes your cornbread different from me, and that's okay. This is just the way that I do it. And 2 tablespoons of oil. I just used Wesson oil, Crisco oil, and 1 cup of buttermilk. And you mix all that up, and put. I grease my pans pretty heavily with shortening. Grease all my pans. And like I said, the recipe I'm giving you makes this size cornbread, and cook it in an oven for 400 for well, that's the dressing. Okay, I cook it. I cook my cornbread. It probably doesn't take about 25 minutes to do your cornbread. It depends on what size pan you put it in. Now this right here, I actually cooked it. Let me show you the pan. But I cooked twice that much.
That's a pretty big pan.
Yeah, I doubled this recipe, and I cooked it in this. It's a 9 by 13-inch pan. Matter of fact, I was looking at this morning. This pan looks rugged, but this was my mother's pan. Did you know that?
Was that Mama's?
Yeah,
Oh.
This was Mama's pan, and I know it looks rough, but I still use it because it was my mama's. So anyway,
So you probably cooked a mini pan of
oh
dressing
yeah,
in
I'm
that pan.
sure. And you cook your cornbread, and of course, when your cornbread gets done, I used to make my cornbread in an iron skillet, but I don't anymore, and I'll tell you my reason why. Is because the crust gets so thick and crusty. I know that's what we like. I know that's what you like too. But for making dressing, you really don't want that hard crust.
Softer, yeah.
You want it softer, and that's the reason I cook it in that
Easier to
pan.
crumble.
Yeah. So when your cornbread gets done, and normally I just take the cornbread right out of the pan and start making my dressing. But you can bake your cornbread ahead of time, just like I'm showing y'all now. Bake it the night before, put it in a bag, you put it in the refrigerator after it cools off.
It actually crumbles better.
It crumbles better when it's cold, yes. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to make the dressing. And after your cornbread is done, and I wrote this down so that I won't make a mistake. Not that I won't, but okay. All right, the cornbread. This is another trick, and Linda, I know you know this. I'm going to crumble all of this cornbread. I'm going to make the cornbread exactly the way, the recipe exactly the way I'm going to give it to y'all. That's going to be up to y'all how much of that you make for your dressing, because this will make a pan of dressing twice this size. So that's a lot of dressing, and I'll show you at the end. But I'm going to break it in half just to crumble it up. And you crumble it up with your hands. If you don't crumble it up with your hands,
You want to put this up, or you want to use this?
I'm going to use it because the recipe I'm putting, I'm looking all of it. I just didn't want to put it all in this bowl at one time. But you see, when you got your crust like this, you need to crumble that up just as fine as you can get it. And I'll show you on the end results what happens if you don't. because last night, I was making this up at 10 o'clock last night, and I didn't crumble my cornbread as good as I should have. So
Yeah, I like it crumbled really fine
yeah,
too.
just crumble it really fine.
Now,
And,
Mary, somebody's probably going to ask, can you do this in a processor, food processor? But we crumble it by hand.
I crumble it by hand. I you know, that's just, it may be nothing different or wrong about it, but that's just the way we do it. And when I was putting this together last night, I think this is the first time that I have ever measured to make dressing. Or cornbread. I have never measured. I just put it together and it always turns out. But for you followers, step by step, I measured everything I put in there so y'all would know exactly the way I did it. So, it's kind of cool here today.
It was
More
really
so-
cold this morning. I put on a sweater when I left
Yeah.
the house, and I'm not a cold-natured person.
Yeah, it was cold to me too. Oh yeah, that's my daughter coming in. She came in last night, her and her husband. I'm trying to
Hey,
get those,
Carla.
trying to get those girls
Hey,
to
Linda's
sing for
behind
me.
the scenes.
Trying to get
behind the
these girls
camera.
to sing, but I don't think they're gonna do it. We've had fun singing in the
Yeah,
kitchen.
we've enjoyed
just
it.
just enjoying ourselves, but I don't think they're ready to sing on camera yet.
We used to sing in the car all the time.
Oh yeah, you
All
know
the
what?
time.
That reminds me, Carla. You remember on our way home from church one night? It was on a Wednesday night, and we practiced singing on the way home
Yes.
all the time. And Carla learned how to harmonize on the way home from church that night. You remember that? You came in and you woke your
Yes.
daddy up. He was asleep.
Sure
He
did.
was asleep, and she went in there and woke him up and said, "Daddy, we learned to harmonize."
How old were you, Carla?
I was probably 13.
Yeah. And
Might have been 12.
yep. And Carla sings beautiful today, and Linda does too.
Both
They
of
both
them.
have beautiful
They do.
voices. We've had a lot of fun days singing. And of course, they know how much they please me when they sing. All right, we ain't got it quite. Let's do the rest of that because I'm making the whole thing. I'm not going to cook the whole thing, but I'm going to mix it up because
Okay.
I'm gonna cook this corn dressing in this bowl so Linda can take it home with her. And I think it's going to be too much dressing for that one bowl.
So, did you want me to crumble this?
Yes, we're making it because it's the recipe. I doubled the recipe last night. According to how many people that you're cooking for, you be your judge about how much cornbread you cook. And this recipe that I'm giving to y'all will make a big pan of dressing. But I'll show you if you double it how much it makes too.
And we've said this a lot of times, Mary, but you know, we're not chefs, we're cooks. We learned
Right.
how to cook at a very early age. We cook the way we were taught to cook
Yeah.
and picked up a few things along the way, I guess, as we got older. But we know that everybody doesn't cook the same, and everybody doesn't cook the same in different parts of the country.
Right. Everybody has different things. There's a lot of people has all kind of. There's lots of kind of dressing recipes. There's rice dressing. There's you ever eat a rice dressing?
I have not.
There's one in the church. Somebody in the church makes one. It's some kind of rice dressing. I don't know because I've never made it, but I've heard a lot of people say there's a lot of kinds. And I know we got both our hands in this, but it takes a long time to crumble this, and we're trying to save y'all time
Yeah, we're trying
from
to
watching.
Here's
All right, I think we got our cornbread crumbled up about as good as we can, Linda.
Okay.
All right. You me see? This is how we crumbled it. Just little bitty crumbles. Okay? And you see that makes a big pan, but it's going to make more than that. You know, I was going to mix it in that other bowl. You know, I'm probably going to have to, yeah, I'm going to have to change bowls because that's going to be too, that's when we get the broth and everything in it.
If you got leftover cornbread, are you gonna put it back in the
Yeah, I
stove?
will.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
I
I'm
will
gonna throw
put-
this away then.
Well, no, I won't either, Linda, because this is going to be mixed.
Oh, it's already
No,
gonna
it's
have
gonna
your
be mixed.
broth.
I'll have to
and
put,
stuff
I'll
in
put it in another pan and freeze it.
Okay.
You can make this dressing and freeze it before you cook it. Freeze it, and then you get it out and put it in the oven before you, I'll put my dry ingredients in there first. Let me get the poultry and the sage. And I know there's some people that doesn't like sage.
We do.
We do.
We love sage.
So, sage is a 1, and black pepper, Linda. I need them.
And Mary, you know, a lot of people may or may not know this, but spices get old also. And if some people don't use spices except once a year, if you want to keep them fresh, you need to put them in the freezer.
Yeah.
And that'll keep them fresh. But if you just have them in the cabinet year in and year out, they're going to get old and they're going to lose their strength.
Normally, I make my cornbread mixture in the pan that I'm gonna bake it in. I normally do that. But the reason that I'm making it in this bowl ahead of time is because I'm making too much to go in the bowl that I'm gonna cook. So I put 1 tablespoon of sage. Okay. And my poultry season, did I get it out? Oh, here it is. I put a half a teaspoon. I want to make sure I don't over spice this for Linda. There's 1/2 teaspoon. This is a 1/2 teaspoon. This is.
That smells so good. You must just open that.
I
Really
opened it
smells
last
good.
night. This is the 1/2 tablespoon of poultry seasoning.
Did you get these at Sam's?
I don't know where I put it. I can't remember, Linda. That's okay. I'm not going to use that spoon no more anyway.
Just think
Okay.
about
All right, and then I put, I'm not going to put no more salt in it because of the broth has so much salt in it. And then I put a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Okay. What I did for my broth, and that's strictly, you know, that's just what I did. I made chicken and dumplings last night with the flour tortillas. I made that. Carl loves it, and so I knew they were coming in last night, so I made some chicken and dumplings, and I put an extra amount of water in my. I cooked 4 chicken thighs with all the skin and the fat on it, so I could get some rich broth, and so I saved half of that broth to help put in the dressing today. I do use canned broth too, but it's just a lot of richer if you'll just cook your chicken leg or thigh or something that would give you broth. All right, now I'll put 1 can of creamy chicken. And we got a lot of people, most people really, puts up celery and puts in their dressing, and that's just something, I just don't like celery, but I want the flavor. So the dressing I made last night, now I used 1/2 can of cream of celery.
You don't rinse this out, do you?
No, because since I'm using broth, I'm not using water. So I put
Do you want me to turn the oven on?
yeah, would you please?
What do you put
And put the cornbread in there, please, and just kind of warm it up a little bit.
on what temperature?
400. And I just mix up. I've done this lots of ways. You can put your cream of chicken soup and your cream of celery soup and your broth all together, whisk it up and heat it all in the same pan. I do sometimes I don't. So today I'm just mixing it with cornbread. It's all the same. Like I said, I do different ways. Now my
You want the
broth, please. Yes.
Where did you get your broth?
I want the broth that's in the bowl that I made last night. Oh, it's in the microwave. I had it in the refrigerator and I put it in the microwave, warmed it up. This broth is a little bit of canned broth, like this. I use some of that, some of my broth that I had last night from boiling the chicken. And then I also put, I can tell you how you can make broth if you got that chicken base. Linda, would you get that out of the refrigerator,
Yeah,
please?
that's Tones, it's comes
Yeah.
from Sam's.
It's on the door on the right hand side, right there.
Okay.
And look, the second one, or that's B. That's the one, the next one. Linda's, she's gonna, yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna learn where everything's at there else.
I put 4 tablespoons of this base. I put 4 tablespoons of this to 6 cups of water, and that's how I made some of the broth. That's what
It's
that's
very, very rich.
it's
and
very
good.
rich. That's what some of this is. So now I've just got through putting 2 cups of broth in this, and this will be 3 cups. This is 4 cups. And this,
So good.
this you just kind of have to judge. Now you stir it up. You want your dressing kind of soupy before you bake it, because you want it to bake long enough to get all the flavors in it. And if you don't put enough of broth in it, it'll dry out.
Yeah.
So I make my dressing very soupy, but before I put it in the oven. Stir it and stir it and stir it. Get all them lumps. Make sure all that cornbread is soaked in this. Okay. Now, before I put any more broth in there, I'm going to put
You need a fork?
4. I'm just going to beat it with this.
Okay.
I cracked 4 eggs. I'm going to beat them up.
Do you use large or extra large eggs?
Well, no, these are large. I know that you won't use nothing with extra large.
I use extra large with my bacon. But those look like nice eggs.
Yeah.
Some of them are so tiny.
Yeah, the ones you get at Kroger's are bigger than the ones you get at Walmart. Beat them up good. You don't want any yellow, or I mean any whites not stirred. And I put the 4 cups of them. Our kitchen is smelling like
good.
Christmas. I'll show you a picture of this in a minute so you can kind of see how soupy it is. Used to, Linda, remember Mama used to put boiled eggs
She did.
in her dressing.
I think old timers did put boiled
Yeah.
eggs in there.
She also put chicken in it.
Yeah, Mama put meat
See?
in hers. But
I'm gonna, you just kind of have to feel, this is really still too thick for me because them eggs will make it get even thicker. So I'm putting another cup. This makes 5, it doesn't it? Don't this make 5 cups?
I believe so.
Okay. I think that's what I've got written down is 5 cups. See how soupy it is? This is just,
It is really.
it is just
smelling
a
like
plain,
Thanksgiving and Christmas
yeah,
in here.
it's just a plain cornbread dressing. It's just spices in it.
All it is.
Okay, now this is the size bowl that I'm gonna cook this in. And like I said, I usually mix this in the bowl that I'm gonna cook it in, but I knew that was gonna be too much for this pan. So you don't wanna fill it full because it will rise up a little bit. But this is the size, and we'll put it in the oven and bake it at 400 for an hour. And this is going to go home with Linda. Now I'm going to show you you already put it
Did
in.
you want me to take it back out?
Do you want to take this home and cook it at your house, or you want to go ahead and cook it here?
Well, we're gonna.
Easy.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and cook it if
Okay,
you don't
all right.
mind.
If you don't mind taking that pan out, and I'll show you. I'll show them.
Get my oven.
Yeah, get them oven mitts. I am just loving these little things
Where
that
did the other one
Tracy,
go?
your mitt.
Yes.
I think did you look in the drawer? There it is, right there on top, Linda. Right there on top.
Been a snake, it would have bit me.
I've heard that phrase a lot of times.
Yep. Sounds like something Mama would have said.
You can put it on this table because it's not hot.
You don't think it?
Mm-mm. Don't burn yourself. No, it ain't hot.
Okay.
Put this in the oven, please. This is that recipe that I gave y'all, this is how much it makes. The recipe that I just made up makes this size pan. And you see the little big pieces of cornbread in there? That's because I didn't crumble it up good enough. So that's what I was going to show you. It does, if it's not crumbled up good, it makes them big old chunks, and you don't want that, not for your Thanksgiving dinner. And I was gonna show them, Linda. How moist it is. It is not dry. It is not dry at all.
Looks
See?
really good.
See how moist it is? It's not dry. It's a good cornbread dressing. And like I said, the recipe I gave y'all makes this size pan. This size. So if you want to make half this much, the recipe that we're going to be posting that I gave you, then half that recipe. But when I'm doing cornbread, when I'm making this dressing at Christmas, I double this. I double this.
You have always had at least 2 pans of this.
Yeah, there is never any cornbread dressing left at our house.
Mary's dressing is delicious. It's
And
really good.
so I hope y'all enjoy this. Now I think Linda's gonna do
Make some gravy.
make some gravy to go with this.
Yes.
And we'll post the cranberry salad another day. The cranberry sauce. But I'm gonna put this back over here on the stove and keep her, because this is going to be our lunch today, or dinner, or whatever. And then Linda, you gonna do some dressing.
Yes. So we've got some little giblets of the turkey left over.
Do you need this
from
broth?
the? Sure, I can
It's
use it.
good, rich
Yeah,
broth.
I'll use
it's
it.
real good broth.
I've got the other in the microwave.
that
I like
rich
for
is
my
good.
liquid, when I'm making gravy, I like for my liquid to be hot. I normally either keep a pan on the stove or either keep some in the microwave. So I've got a skillet, and this is, I'm not going to make a huge amount because this is not a big skillet, but I'm going to try to tell y'all about what I put in it. So we'll start out with
Linda, if you was making that cornbread, you would combine the creamy chicken soup and the celery soup and the broth all together and heat it.
Yeah.
And I've done that before, but it doesn't matter. It's all the liquids
right.
goes together and
It's
all the
basically
dries
the
goes
same
together.
thing.
So
Now this is not an actual measuring spoon, tablespoon, but I'm gonna put,
you want a tablespoon?
no, I'm just gonna use this one.
Okay. Well,
I'm
I
gonna
got one
use
here.
about, I'm using 4 of these. I think that's probably about actual 3 tablespoons full.
Here, do you need
Of all.
Are you through with that spoon or?
Yeah, I'm finished with it. Okay. And I'm gonna do, Mama always did this, and I think it was Grandma Hooper that did this, and probably some of you may have never heard this before.
What's
But
that?
she browned her salt in her oil before she added her flour.
I know. And you know what? I hardly ever do that.
So I'm probably gonna add about at least a good half a teaspoon of salt in there, and we're just gonna get this oil heated real quick here.
Are you using your new little
Yeah, I'm gonna
Is
sift
it?
the flour in
Oh,
here that
good.
that Fran sent us.
Good. I sure do
Was
like
it Fran? Fran? Yes, Fran.
Friend.
Um,
It was Tracy that sent us these.
yes, Tracy sent the.
I sure
kitchen
do like them.
slides.
I just love them.
And I've got, in this bowl, I've got 2 cans, 14.5 ounce
Okay.
cans of low sodium chicken broth, and I've got 1 can of creamy chicken soup. And I use the fat free, that's just what I use, but you don't have to, you can use the other. You can use the store brand if you want to. It's not something that I buy. I don't buy store brand and creamy chicken. I like Campbell's brand, so that's what I use. So we got this on medium heat, and
I'm gonna
get
set the
this
timer.
just a little bit
I'm gonna set the timer for your dressing.
hotter. Okay. Get this a little bit hotter, and I'm just gonna pour this in here, Mary. So
What?
I guess I
Oh,
can
yeah.
use this.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Oh,
can
yeah.
tell
Well,
them about how many cups.
Okay, you can
So,
just cut
yeah.
measure. I'll just leave it in the bowl.
I can tell because I don't
Okay.
measure it either. I just put it.
I know it's so hard, Linda. Is it for me to measure things when I'm not
We're
used
just
to
not
it?
used. No, we're not used to.
No,
We're not
I'm
used
not.
to measuring. We're just used to
We
pouring
just-
until we think that's good.
Yep.
Okay,
We
so
got the counter full of stuff here.
we do have it full of stuff. I'll wait a second till I add the pepper. And I'm going to, I sift everything almost when I'm using flour. So y'all will go notice that these are pretty big spoons that I'm using here.
Do you need a measuring spoon? I got the tablespoon.
I don't know.
Okay.
So, usually as a rule, gravy is about equal parts flour to oil.
Yeah. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, kind of
Okay.
equal parts.
Yeah, that's
And I
fine.
may have to add a little more oil to this. I think I've got maybe a little bit too much flour, so I'll add a little bit more oil. See, this is too thick. It would be all lumpy
Yeah.
if
You're right.
I didn't add some more oil to it. So I'm just gonna pour. That was probably another tablespoon I poured in there.
You know, I was grown. I mean, I don't mean just grown. I mean, hadn't been that many years ago that I actually knew that you're supposed to put equal parts of flour and grease. I just poured the grease in there and put enough flour to make it like that. And I never know it was supposed to be equal
Well,
parts.
I guess I probably have
But that's the
known it
correct
for
way.
a while, but if you were measuring, you know, we
Yeah.
just do it till we
I
feel
just
like
put
it's,
it in there. Yeah.
until it's the right equal amounts
Right.
that it's, the formula is equal, and I'm gonna probably I'll try not to put too much pepper on this, so.
That's okay. You put whatever you want
I
to.
could add more.
I'm sorry I'm making all this racket in my cabinets.
We were laughing earlier.
I'm so noisy.
I sat in the living room and they were all in the kitchen and it sounded like a war zone in
I'm
here.
telling you. I'm so noisy in the kitchen.
We have a working kitchen and we just.
And you know what, Mother I used to think Mama did that on purpose. We always from out of town. And whenever we'd be laying in the bed, waking up that morning, and Mama in there slamming pots and pans and making the biggest noise.
She was used to being by herself.
I know,
You know?
I know. And you know, then I thought, well, I told Bobby, I said, well, that's a sign we got to get up. Mom's ready for us to get up. But it wasn't. But you know how young people think. And
She always,
I thought
she would
she was
always
wanting us up.
tell me the night before when she moved back to Mississippi, was at the farm, and I usually was the first one home.
Yeah.
And she always tell me that night, now Linda Faith, you sleep as long as you want to in the morning. And I'd be so tired from driving that 5-hour drive from Mississippi and working all week. And like Mary said, by 6 o'clock, Mama was up and at 'em. She was.
And now I do that to my grandkids and kids.
She was wanting
And
them to get up.
I even have pads on my cabinet so it don't slam. And somehow or another, I still make that noise.
I sure wish I could hear her slam cabinets again.
Oh,
don't
isn't
you,
that
Mary?
the truth, Linda? Oh my goodness. Yes, I do. You know, you really don't love and appreciate your parents, your mom especially, until after they're gone. It just, you look back and I wish I could call Mom and ask her something. You know, and I think, I know she'd know how to do this, but you know what I do? I call my sister. She remembers things. She remembers things better than I do. So when I need to know about something that has to do with cooking or anything, I'll call my sister, and she'll have the answer for me.
Well, I've done that to you too, lots of times. But
My memory's not as good as yours.
you just, I think when you're kids, you're just living in the moment, and you think they're always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, as the older you get, you know, things start changing.
Well, life is so busy. Life is so
It
busy.
is.
You're taking
Everybody's
care of your
always doing
family,
this, and
and
you think, well, why didn't I just take a day off of work,
Mhm.
you know, and go down there and do something?
Yeah.
So I guess that's what we're trying to say is, if you got time, you got family, go
Yeah.
see them, call
Right.
them.
it
you
means
know?
a lot. It means a lot to your mother.
Especially if your parents or siblings are living. Don't wait until they're gone. And wish, and I'm not, I mean, we were very close to Mother, and it
Yeah.
wasn't that we neglected her in no way.
No. At the last years that Mother, she had to be in the nursing home just a short time before, you know, we lost her. But she would say, if y'all would just come to see me every day, and this is the truth, either Linda or I, one, would go just about every day.
Yeah.
What we would take turns, but she still didn't think we'd come enough, bless
Yeah.
her heart. And now I wished but you know what? We did the best we could, Linda. We both got jobs.
Because we were
Bobby
working.
was sick.
Yeah.
We did the best we could. But you always look back and say, if we'd have just done this, if we'd have just done that. And you know what? That's just not the way life is. It just happens, and you just have to live with whatever comes your way, and not distress you out and depress you and all that.
Right.
You trying to get that brown? Have you
Yeah.
got your burner up high enough?
I've turned it up just a little
Okay.
bit more. I'm trying to decide if it needs more flour in it. Do you think it does?
I think it does.
Just a tiny bit
It depends on how much gravy you want to make.
Well, I was trying to be careful because the skillet's not real big, but not to get so much in there. But I'm gonna put just a tiny bit more in here.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm gonna put the rest of that corn resting in an aluminum pan, and I'll probably cook it. No, my freezer's so full. If my freezer wasn't full, I'd freeze it. But my freezer's too full. I've got to clean that freezer out for Christmas.
if I
I
don't-
want to start trying to practice on making some homemade rolls. That's something I've been wanting to do for a long time.
I love rolls. They're so good.
I've made them several times, and some of them turned out okay. Most of them didn't.
Well, I like
I just hadn't been happy with what I've done. I put it that way.
you like a real light roll.
I like a light roll.
I
and
love
that you
all
can
these
taste
rolls,
it.
but they're kind of
They're
like a
dense.
biscuit
Yeah.
roll. They're kind of like
They are.
not as light as what you like. But we'll come up with a good recipe that we'll both be happy with. And Mary, a lot of people they ask us to do this, to that, or give us ideas for recipes,
Right.
and ask us will we do one, or ask us to post a recipe.
Right.
But we don't want to post a recipe until we do a video
Right.
of it.
Because we're not just on here giving you recipes. We're doing a video.
We're not.
And this is really not, when we started this out, it wasn't to be a cooking show. This was to do for our kids and grandkids and reminisce of our life,
Yes.
so that our kids can find out some things that we don't ever have time to sit around and tell them. And that's what got this all started. And that's where we do this at. That's where we talk at, is in the kitchen. So,
And we would never want to be rude or ugly or anything to anyone, but we will post our recipes. We
Yes.
absolutely will post them when we do them, but we don't want to post a recipe until we've made a video.
Right,
I just
right.
said that, didn't I? So
Yes, you
I
did.
said it twice.
that's okay. I repeat myself all the time.
Okay.
I've been thinking about our aunts lately, it's getting close to Christmas, and it was always such a big thing to them, and they're probably not really able to do like they used to, because they're in their 80s, their late 80s. One's 86, one's 89. Aunt Lucy,
And Aunt Lucy, she's close to
getting
90.
close to
She's
90,
89
yeah.
or 90,
Yeah.
I think so.
And they're not able to do like they used to, and that has to be hard. I dread the day that I can't get in the kitchen and do what I normally
I know,
do.
we need to make a trip to Nacogdoches and go
Yes,
see
we do.
Lufkin and go
Yes, we
see
do.
them.
I want to do that soon, very soon.
We sure do. We didn't set the timer for that dressing, but.
I did too.
Did you? Oh,
Yeah.
that's right, you did set
Yeah,
it.
I said it time.
Okay, so do you think this is brown enough? I usually
I
get
think
mine
it
browner
is.
than you do, but I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
I
ahead and
think
put
it's
some
okay.
liquid in
I
it.
don't like a real brown gravy for my dressing. And how much broth are you putting in there?
Oh, I was gonna measure it, wasn't I?
Hey, we gotta get used to people needing to know how much we're using. It really depends on how much flour and how much gravy you wanna make.
Well, that's not gonna be enough, but that's where I'm gonna start.
Okay,
I got 2 cups of broth in here,
okay.
and that broth is 2 cans of the low sodium chicken broth. I hate
Yeah.
to set this on your counter, Mary.
That's okay. Well, here, I'll get you a paper towel.
and then 1 can of creamy chicken soup, the oil and flour and salt and pepper. And I'm going to add the turkey in just a few minutes, and 2 cups of broth so far, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to add some more broth to this. So it's going to start bubbling pretty quick. And I want you to get a spoon taste of it.
Okay.
And see. After I'm probably wait until I add some more broth
Okay.
to see if it needs any salt or pepper.
Okay.
Now, gravy is not hard to make at all. A lot of people don't like to make it or don't think they could make it. Mary, you may think different from me, but I think the key is having your liquid hot. You don't want to put cold liquid in your gravy, right? When you're making it.
That's true.
So I added 1 more cup of broth, so that's 3 cups of broth in here.
You know what? We've been told that we need to get us a hot plate and cook over here on this island, so that we won't have our backs turned to you. And I think we're gonna check on that. Yeah,
Okay.
let's check on that. So that way we won't have our back turned, and this island here, we can get all around it and we can be looking at the camera. I think that's what we're gonna try to do. You know, Chuck's got a hot plate. Did you buy that for him for Christmas? The hot plate?
Me?
Yes.
I don't know. If I did, it was a long time ago.
Linda, was that your hot plate? It was my little Linda's. Okay, my son has got him a little house, and he was showing me that little hot plate, and it's a nice one.
I'm gonna turn this burner just a hair.
Yeah, I would
Seems
too.
like it's-
I know it is. I've got to call the appliance repair man. My stove is not. It's getting hot, and then it cools down too much. So that's probably why that's taking that so long, Linda. But I gotta call him. I just keep forgetting. I pay for a warranty for appliances, and I've never called them out here.
Yeah, I'd call
It sure does look good.
Check on it. It's good, looking like it's a pretty good consistency. So that was 3 cups of broth. Once it's
You ready for me to taste
you
it?
taste of it. It might not be quite hot enough yet, but
Well, you mean it's hot enough, Linda? It's bubbling.
it's starting to bubble. Remember Paulie? He did not like cold food.
Well, you don't either.
It had to be boiling when it was put on his plate.
And I've got a granddaughter. I don't see, and I'm talking about when she was
Renee
little.
has
Renee,
always been
Carla's
like that.
daughter. I don't see how she ate it. It was so hot.
When she was probably 6 years old, her and Shelly stayed at the house a couple of nights. And I would fix them some food, and I'd put it on the counter. She said, hotter, hotter. She kept wanting me to get it
She
hot.
liked her food
And I was
hot.
afraid it was going to burn her mouth.
I know.
So what do you think?
That's delicious.
It's
Linda.
not too salty, is it?
No. It is just right.
Okay, so I'm going
It is delicious. I mean, you can taste that broth in there. That
I'm
is
gonna add the
delicious.
turkey to
That's
it.
that turkey that you
Yeah.
shredded
That's it.
into little bitty
Finely
pieces.
minced turkey.
Hey, Linda, she likes everything little, little tiny things.
I'm
She
sorry.
likes tiny little figurines. She likes everything tiny.
I like little
She,
stuff.
it's kind of took after her name. Some of the young people, right when she was younger in Jesus' Name Tabernacle. They called her Tiny because she was so little.
Mousy.
Mousy,
Mousy.
that's right, Mousy, because she was so little. I didn't think she would. I mean, I thought she'd always be that. You was what? How old was you when you got married?
I was 32 and I
32.
weighed 98 pounds.
32. And see, I thought I couldn't believe it when she started putting on a little bit of weight
So
because
I haven't always been this size.
no,
though.
she was so tiny. Her waist, what was it, 22?
I don't
It was
know.
little bitty waist.
Okay.
That is really delicious. You know what you need?
I'm gonna taste it.
Oh, okay.
Not that I don't trust
Well,
you,
I can
but
tell
I'll
you.
taste
Well, I
it.
can tell you, you're going to add black pepper to it.
Well,
because
I'm not.
It could.
I'm not to this.
Well, yeah,
but,
it could use a little black pepper. It could, but not no salt.
but it doesn't need. But is it? It's not too salty
No,
for me. Is it too
no.
salty for you?
It is not too salty for me, but it could use a little more black pepper.
Okay. So we got a lot of broth left.
Yeah, I know, but that's okay. That gravy is delicious. I'm like you. I wish people could just taste it. Hey, Carl and Art and Linda's gonna get some. Gonna get some of your gravy. That is
Yeah.
delicious.
If it needs to have more broth added to it after you get it made and you feel like it needs
if
more,
it thickens up
yeah,
after it gets,
it'll thick.
yeah.
You can add a little bit more
Yeah,
broth
but
to it.
right
So that
now,
was 3 cups of broth.
3
is what I
cups of
put in it.
broth. Okay.
I think that's good.
It's
Now,
good. I would
you
turn
already
it off.
showed them your dressing, so
Yeah.
we'll turn this off.
And,
And-
do you want me to put a plate with the cornbread dressing over it? I mean, some people uses the
I love gravy over my dressing. Just-
Here.
No,
You want to put
if
some
you
in?
want to do it to show, you can. I won't eat any, but if you want to do a little plate to show them, you can.
I'll do a little saucer. A little, not a saucer, a little plate.
I'm gonna turn
This,
that off.
I'm not bragging on myself, but that's some good moist dressing.
It looks good. It looks really good.
That's all I'm gonna put. Here, just, now you need a spoon for the gravy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. We're a team. We do this together. You turned it off, didn't you?
Yeah. Now we like cranberry sauce with our dressing too,
Right.
but we also like gravy.
We I've got ladles, gravy ladles, but I'm not using it now. Doesn't that look good, folks?
That looks really good.
That, trust me, it is good. All right.
Okay, so this is going to be
Followers?
another dish or 2 dishes actually in the Thanksgiving series. So we hope that you'll try our dressing and try our gravy, and
We'll be having some more.
yes, we'll have
We'll do cranberry
homemade
sauce.
cranberry sauce.
Next, we'll do
and,
cranberry sauce.
You're going to do some kind of a salad or something, and then we're going to do desserts too.
Yeah.
So y'all come back and see what we have next. We love y'all.
Thank y'all for
Bye.
calling us. Bye-bye.